Hello again and welcome back to the program. I am Ignatius Ano. A more constructive engagement is needed between the private sector and the Egyptian government. According to a Cairo-based think tank, this should hopefully lead to employment opportunities within the private sector. Despite data showing that economic reforms are working in this North African nation, residents say this is yet to reflect in their day-to-day lives. As a 2016 IMF deal draws to a close, question is, has the ordinary Egyptian not wailed under pressure for far too long?
Egypt has been receiving praise as one of the hottest emerging markets with debt investments surging. Despite what analysts say are positive economic indicators, ordinary Egyptians see things differently.
And I think that the major part of pain has passed for the average person, but it's still going to be difficult. And I think that's where we need a more constructive engagement between the government and the private sector to give hope to the private sector that these changes will affect positively for the private sector if the government is able to broaden its budget to help, especially in infrastructure, to smaller companies. I'd like to see that so that we can hopefully look forward to, quite quickly, growth in private sector employment.
Egyptians have been asked to exercise restraints for the past 5 years, but frustration is setting in.
How much does housing cost? For a young man to graduate and want to start his life, how much will he able to? Where will he get the money? An employee in any occupation with a 2-year contract for 1 or 2 years, how much will he earn? $182? Okay, a flat rent is $73 or $103. What water will he pay for, and what electricity and what gas? Today, the cheapest bus ticket is 30 cents. How will the young man pay?
Egypt's 2016 deal with the International Monetary Fund draws to a close. On paper, data shows the reforms are working.
Finally, economic growth slowed to 1.94% in Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria, in the second quarter of 2019. Bloomberg reports that expansion in the continent's biggest oil producer also slugged from 2.1% in the first quarter. But Nigeria's central bank has moved in to support expansion. Key measures include interest rate cuts and more credit by lenders to promote growth.
Nigeria's economic growth slowed in the second quarter as oil output declined slightly. Gross domestic product in Africa's largest oil producer grew 1.94% in the 3 months through June from a year earlier. After a few years of massive spending to boost the economy, following the 2016 contraction, Nigeria's Senate approved a reduced budget for 2019 as the government struggles to meet revenue targets. The central bank has now stepped in to help support expansion, first with an interest rate cut in March, and thereafter by forcing lenders through regulations and penalties to give out more credit in an attempt to stimulate growth. President Muhammad Buhari has pledged to diversify the economy, which depends on oil for 90% of its foreign exchange. Crude output fell to 1.98 million barrels per day from 1.99 million barrels in the first quarter. After averaging more than 7% in the first 14 years of this century, annual growth in Nigeria's economy has failed to grow more than 3% for the past 4 years.
And that's it for Business Africa. You can be a part of the program via our various social media handles. Follow me on Twitter at Ignatius Anum. Also, head over to Africanews.com for the entire program and more. I thank you for watching and goodbye.